Good day, grade 11 students, and welcome back to Reading and Writing. And for today, our lesson is all about literature review. So, when we say literature, often than not, we think about the fictional books. We also think about the poems, short stories. We also think about the Shakespeare or the works of Shakespeare. And of course, we also tend to think about the books of Harry Potter, the books and series. But those examples were not confined on the genre that we're going to discuss for today. So now let's discuss literature. So when we say literature, any collection of materials on a topic, not necessarily great literary text of the word. So anything that has been written is an example of literature, unpopular or not. As long as it is a literary text, then it can be a literature. So now let's discuss the literature review. So when we say literature review, it is the discussion of published information in a particular subject area. And of course, it can be just a simple summary of the resources or where you got the information from. But typically, it has a structural pattern and combines with what summary and synthesis. So now let's try to differentiate summary and synthesis. So when we say summary, it is just a recap of significant information of the source. So when we say summary, it is all about what was the information that was presented on the literature that you have just read, and or you are just trying to say those information all over again. And of course, synthesis is quite different from summary because a synthesis, it is a reorganization of information which might give a new interpretation of old materials. So basically, summary and synthesis is very different with each other because when we say summary, is still loyal to the information that was initially presented, where synthesis would include new information and new interpretation of the literature. So why do we need to write literature review? So the first one is it gives us a convenient guide to a particular topic, most especially for those people who are having a hard time in understanding a specific information. Well, literature review is a perfect avenue or a perfect instrument for you to be able to understand briefly what the information is all about. The second one is that it can provide an overview on a summary if there is a limited time to conduct a research, most especially for those people who are not fond of reading so much wordy text, then literature review could help you a lot. And next, it helps you to analyze, synthesize, and critically evaluate information to give a picture of the subject. Okay, so writing a literature review is quite hard task to do. But of course, however, there are certain steps that we can follow to ensure that we can provide at least a good literary or literature review. So the first one is search for relevant literature. Okay, clearly define your topic, choose a focused and develop a central question to direct your search. So example, a research question, what is the impact of social media on body image among Generation Z? So the first thing that you need to do is that make a list of related keywords. So for example, social media, Facebook, mental health, teenager, and so on and so forth. So after making a list of related keywords, the next thing that you need to do is that you need to search for a relevant sources. Relevant sources coming from relevant websites. For example, the JSTOR, you could also use Google Scholar, and another one is the Project Muse. We also have university or university library and so on and so forth. We are advising our students not to use Wikipedia for your safety use also. So the next one is evaluate sources. So make sure your sources you used are credible. And of course, make sure that the website is legit and credible. Make sure that the website is used by other scholars and writers because you know it is important to keep track of your sources with citations to avoid plagiarism. So the third one is identify themes, debates, and gaps. So always remember that identify themes, debates, and gaps are to understand the connections and the relationships between the sources you've read. Always remember that literature review must be connected to each other to formulate and create a better and a reliable information with what you are going to write. So the fourth step is outline the structure. So the first type of outline is the chronological outline. So it follows the time element of the information, or in other term, it is arranging the information by time order. The second one is the thematic outline, arranging the ideas you've gathered based on the theme they have. Ideas that share the same theme were grouped together. And okay, so the third one is the methodological outline. So when we say methodological outline, it is trying to follow a method or a methodology. And of course, when we say theoretical outline, arrange the outline based on the theory that you will be using. And of course, the last one is writing your literature review. So as basic as what you know. So the first one is you need to write the introduction. The second one is that you need to write the body where the information can be found. And lastly is the conclusion. Okay? So here is an example of a literature review.